Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, referring to the old frontier as the Wild West can occasionally be an understatement, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And, you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, mash that 5-star rating, give us the old like, the thumbs up on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, we're on the Twitter, we're on the Instagram, we're on the TikTok, and we're on the Letterboxd for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because, you know, we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it. We love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us a kindness and pay us a visit. On this episode, we got a fun one. It is coming to digital on-demand platforms today. It is available today. It is called Oregon Trail. And that's, it's a bit of a play on words, but it's a bit of a misnomer. But it's not a bit of a misnomer. It's brutal as all hell. It's the story of young Abigale Archer, who is alone in the Montana winter during the 1870s, who fights for her survival and to retrieve her one and only earthly possession, a family horse, from a gang of bloodthirsty bandits. It's a Western, it's a horror, it's a thriller, it's all sorts of things in once, and it is a fun yet incredibly brutal ride. But I think fans of the genre, both Western and horror, are going to get a legitimate kick out of. And in advance of it coming to digital, we had the unique pleasure of sitting down with one of the stars of the movie, the one and only Olivia Applegate. And we asked her about getting the job and just the joys of the Western and the genre, and just so very much more. But check out Oregon Trail when it comes to on-demand platforms today. Pretty sure Apple and several others, but you can dig around and take a look. But first, enjoy our talk with Olivia, because it's a darn good one. Yeah, just thank you so much for the time today, and congrats on the movie.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I mean, I guess my first question is just like, walk me through seeing the script and sort of really diving into this character, because I mean, when you see sort of 1800s Montana, you know it's not going to be an easy shoot. It's going to be an intense kind of film.
Yeah, no, I definitely read the script and was like, okay, my character goes through a lot. Like, no spoilers, but like, wow, Cassidy does not have an easy go of it. And you know, the thing is, when you're an actor, you see those people doing crazy things on camera. They actually have to do those things. You know, you actually have to go, you know, walk in the frozen tundra and like be there and do that. So I was really drawn to the character because in so many ways she was such a bucket list character for me. I loved that she, you know, has this incredible arc over the course of the movie. You know, she's not really who she appears to be at the beginning, but redeems herself in the end. And for me, it was exciting to get to play a character that was a little bit more brooding, a little darker, a little more mysterious, because I don't always get cast as that. I get cast in sort of like lighter and brighter characters, right. You know? And so this was like a fun stretch. And I mean, it's a period piece Western thriller. Like, that's just so bucket list for me, you know. It's just I was very excited by the idea.
No, I mean, I'm curious. Obviously, like you said, your character goes on a hell of a ride, but I mean, you're starting off sort of at a high level already. I'm kind of curious, how do you kind of maintain that throughout the entire shoot?
Right. I mean, that's a great question. You know, you think it can't get any worse, and then it does. But I think something was really fun for me with Cassidy is that she's just such a resilient character. And I think all of the characters in the film are, and all of the female characters in particular, are these really, really resilient women. And I think that a main sort of theme of the film is like what's worth fighting for, you know? And Cassidy is definitely on that journey and sort of like against all odds, choosing to try to survive, you know? And I think that's a fun and exciting thing to get to explore as an actor and as a person, you know?
No, I mean, I'm curious when you're quite literally in the woods and you're wearing period costume. I mean, is that an advantage or kind of a disadvantage when you're trying to find the part?
Right. Well, no, I think it's such an advantage to be in wardrobe and be in the environment and all of that stuff because, you know, it takes care of so much of it for you. You know, sometimes if you're having to act against a green screen, it's like 90% imagination,
Yeah,
right? But when you're
yeah.
in the woods in Montana, it's 90% environment. You know, like it was really, really cold out there. A lot of that wasn't acting. A lot of it was just us being cold, you know? No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it was very cold. But I found it a great help. And I just think it's so fun to get to do period piece stuff because you're in a totally different time and place. And it's really fun to get to like escape into a world like that.
Is
I really
that why
enjoyed it.
something like this is like a bucket list, check off moment for you? Because I mean, again, you really get to dive into it. You're not sort of, getting your hair done and sitting in a coffee shop or doing something else or being on set.
Yeah.
You're in the muck and the mire.
Right. No, totally. Yes. I mean, I've always wanted to do a period piece. I've done period piece stuff before, but still more modern, you know, like 60s, 70s. I've done stuff like that in 1960s, 70s, I should say. This is 1870s. So that definitely made it a bucket list for me. And, you know, getting to ride horses, getting to be just sort of a general badass, like a broody badass cool chick. I was like, yeah, that sounds really fun. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm curious. Like, obviously, I mean, there's going to be various differences, but I mean, for jumping onto a project like this and literally being on location, like, what are sort of the main differences from, I guess being on a sound stage? I mean, other than catering, obviously, I can imagine.
Right. Right. Well, it was incredibly different. I feel like this was definitely the first film I ever did where I was snowmobiled to set, you know? Like, we were on those like all-terrain snowmobile vehicles, and like you're also just having to commute every day. Like so we were put up in a hotel in the nearest town in Livingston, and then you'd get picked up and driven like a half hour to base camp where some of the stuff was filmed in the western town, but then other days we were filming even farther on location. So you go to base camp, you get ready, and then you would drive on icy roads another hour and a half and then get snowmobiled, and then there would be like, you know, catering would be sledded into you on sleds. And you know, there was a pee tent and like
A tent.
yes, a tent with a fancy bucket. You know, it was like we were like in the elements, and you just kind of had to be prepared for that and ready for that. I mean, there was a day that it was so cold that the cameras wouldn't work. The cameras were freezing. It was like -20 with the wind chill or something like that. So we were really in the elements, but I grew up in a pretty outdoorsy family. Like I grew up backwoods camping, and all of this stuff. So for me, it was like a real return to nature in a way that I found quite enjoyable, actually. But it was no joke. It was truly no joke.
Now, I'm curious from your perspective, what is it about the Western genre that kind of allows for these tales of morality and right and wrong to really sort of play out in these very sort of gritty but really effective ways?
Yeah. Well, I think that's an incredible question. And I really love that. I think that you know, I think it's a really inherently human thing to want to seek out the new frontier,
Mm.
right? Or like whatever that may be. And I think Western genre is really emblematic of that. The stakes are higher. It's just a little more life and death in a Western because it's like man in wilderness, right? It's man in the new frontier, or human in the new frontier is what I should say. Person in the new frontier, right? And I just think that's an exciting escape and helps modern people in modern societies reconnect to a sense of like ruggedness. And you know, I think a main theme of this movie is like what's worth fighting for, and I think people want to feel a sense of like purpose and urgency like that. And I think that's just really easy to do in a Western because you're dealing with the elements, you're dealing with bandits, the stakes are just dialed up in Westerns and in thrillers too.
Now, I mean, I'm curious just to start putting a bow on this because, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, there's going to be some people who know you from song to song. I mean, I remember you from the beta test just a couple of years back. I love that movie.
Thank you for
But,
watching.
but I mean, I'm curious, what are the movies and the stories that made you want to be an actor and get into this business in the first place?
Oh man, I love this question so much. So, when people ask me what kind of music I like, my answer is always good music. And so it's the same. It's the same with film and television. Good storytelling is what I find compelling. I'm not super genre specific about it. It's not like I have one role in mind that I would love to play. I'm interested in telling compelling stories that connect people to a common sense of humanity and, bring people together ultimately. And I really believe in the power of storytelling because I think I was a philosophy major in college, so just bear with me here. But like, I really do think that people walk through the world and the way that we make sense of our lives and make meaning of it is by telling ourselves stories about
Yeah,
what our lives mean
yeah.
and what the things that happen mean. And so to be a storyteller, I think is a really powerful thing and a really, really useful tool, and also how we move through the world. So I just love storytelling, full stop. And the types of projects I'm interested in doing, the types of projects that get me excited are great stories. So, I mean, if I were to like think of some from my childhood, this is a random first example, but I really liked that movie Chocolat as a kid. I don't know if
Okay,
you
yeah, that's a completely fair
have,
answer.
it's a really beautiful movie, but I
Of
just
course,
think it's
yeah.
I just think it's a really well-crafted film. I think the characters are compelling. I think it's so much about what it is to be a human being on this earth. And anyway, I have lots of favorite movies. That was just the first one that came to mind, but I just love storytelling, and
Well, you
that's
know
what
what?
got me
I love
excited
I
about it.
love this story because I mean, this film that you're in, I mean, I swear to God, I love movies when you can tell actors are putting in the work and really trying to do something and give us something interesting and compelling, and that comes from a human place. And I mean, I think this story really is that. And again, it's set inside of a thrilling, dirty ass western all at the same time, which makes it even that much more fun.
It's nothing if not entertaining, for sure.
But I mean, if anything, Olivia, just again, congrats on the work and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you so much. It was lovely meeting and chatting with you.
Likewise. And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.